And we're back. We got our first official look at the new Oklahoma City Thunder as they took on the New York Knicks. It was an emotional night for both Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks, facing off for the first time since Melo's departure from the Knicks. The Knicks hung in early and had an excellent showing from Kristaps Porzingis, finishing with 31 points and showing off a few new moves. Matthew, what were your takeaways from the first time we got to see this big three in official action?
Originally in the first quarter, it was kind of frustrating at points because it looked like the three of them, every time they got the ball, they were playing ISO ball, which is what I did not want to see. And looked like just what it looked like with KD and Russ. Just a lot of ISO ball, them two creating for each other, creating for themselves, and creating for their teammates. So essentially, I did not like that. But towards the game, kind of opened up more. People started getting their shots. So I didn't like the ISO ball, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah, one thing that I took away from this game, the massive impact that Russell Westbrook had. Didn't jump off the screen at me. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. He finished with 21, 10, and 16 assists. I had no idea. I was shocked when I heard at the end of the game that he finished with a triple-double. I double took and I said, what?
Yeah.
This just shows that when these guys finally gel as the season goes on and they get some offense instilled, this team has serious potential to do well. And I think Russell Westbrook, believe it or not, could be looking at a second MVP.
Yeah, people believe like, oh, he's not going to get triple doubles this year. They got Melo and Pete and Paul George, but look at him, he's getting another triple double, and like
right away.
Mostly everyone did not know, but until you looked at the box score, you saw the triple double, you're like, all right, wow, looks like he's getting another triple double.
Yeah. Well, another takeaway that I had from this game, we'll hit on the Knicks in a minute. But when I was watching this game, like you were saying, it was a lot of ISO ball.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed when I saw that. It just shows that Billy Donovan, he doesn't really know what kind of system he wants to run with this team. He had a lot of ISO ball in KD's last year, and last year it was Russell ball. We'll just call it that. And this year, it seems like, okay, you took a shot. Now I'm going to take a shot. Melo, you got to take a shot? Okay, here, take a shot. Rather than getting off the ball action and down screens and high pick and roll, it doesn't seem like there is a system there. It's a one-layered offense.
It just looks like a street ball system, like a pickup system like you see in the gym. Like,
exactly.
Oh, hey, you take the ball, maybe set a couple picks, down picks, nothing really happening. Okay, someone force a shot late in the shot clock. That's what I don't like about his offense, and he's on the hot seat this year. I know we mentioned it earlier in the show past couple weeks ago, but he's on the hot seat. If they get bounced in the first round playing this ISO ball, he's gone.
Yeah, truthfully, I wouldn't mind that switch. I wouldn't mind if he wasn't a coach at the end of the season. And for reference, Paul George finished with 28 points and 6 rebounds. Carmelo Anthony, 22 points in his first game against his former team. It was a fun watch, though. And as far as the Knicks go, I picked up on one thing. They are atrocious. Not the Suns atrocious, but they're pretty bad. They don't have the overall talent. I don't know why Coach Jeff Hornacek didn't play Willy Hernan-Gomez. Had no idea. He played 3 minutes at the very end of the game. He was a first-team All-Rookie last year. He just showed out. He showed he could play. He could rebound. He even played some nice weak side defense. I don't know what was going on with that, but Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
He looked awesome. Like we were saying a little earlier, Porzingis added a few moves. Rather than just that crossover to the pull-up, now he went crossover to another crossover to get a few extra feet in the lane.
And he also showed his defensive ability. He stayed in front of a shorter, smaller Carmelo Anthony and blocked him on that layup in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was a feel-good moment for Knicks fans, but it was a little bittersweet.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I gotta say it was. Porzingis finished with 31 and 12. Now moving on to the other primetime game that was right before this, the Timberwolves and the Spurs. It ended up with the San Antonio Spurs winning 107-99. We got our first look at the T-Wolves, but it was against the Spurs, so make with that what you will.
Yeah.
What'd you take away from their first game?
On the T-Wolves aspect or the Spurs aspect?
We'll start with the T-Wolves.
So T-Wolves aspect, the bench was just disappointed again. Jamal Crawford led their bench in scoring. We talked about earlier that Shabazz Muhammad needs to be that six-man Lou Williams role player, like 15 to 17 points per game. And he scored about maybe, I think, 9 points, something like that.
Yeah,
that's just disappointing to see. But Andrew Wiggins looked good. He looked like he was trying on defense this time.
Yeah.
He's improved as a player. Karl Anthony Towns had a nice double-double. So.
Yeah, one thing that I took away from the Wiggins side of this, in a lot of situations when somebody is young like Wiggins, and he just signed a big contract, he told Glenn Taylor, the owner, that yes, I will give you that defensive effort and I will rebound. I'll try to be more of a team player. He showed us that. I think he really took that seriously.
Yeah.
He finished with 26 points on 4 or 6 from 3, and that's big because Wiggins isn't a great three-point shooter.
Yeah.
And the fact that he hit 4 of 6 yesterday, and they were tough shots.
Yeah. Back to the defensive side, you can also add the Jimmy Butler coming into Minnesota. Is putting that, you need to play defense. He's being a big brother to him. So
Yeah, I mean, they looked pretty good. You could tell Jimmy Butler only finished with 12 points. You could tell it's going to take a little bit for them to fit it in. But one thing that stuck out to me, and I don't really know why this happened, but Jeff Teague, he was playing a pretty good game. He was benched for the last 15 minutes of this game in favor of Tyus Jones, a third-year player who hasn't really done much. Not to his fault, though. He hasn't gotten much time. What did you see in this game that warranted Jeff Teague sitting the last 15 minutes? I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything as well. I think he should have been down there in those crunch minutes. It was a close game, and he should have been playing. I see the same thing as you. I don't know why he was benched.
Yeah, I think Teague could be the X factor for this team, as crazy as that sounds, because he can really get to the rack. He's got a pretty good inside game, and I was saying this a few weeks ago when we were talking about these guys. If he can get 8 to 10 assists a game, keep the ball moving around, I think the T-Wolves can reach some pretty new heights this year, but it's going to depend if Coach Thibodeau lets them.
It's basically, you can go back to the Chicago days of Thibodeau, of Derrick Rose being the main ball handler on the team. That's what Jeff Teague needs to be. He needs to be the floor general, because you have players like Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns who are ball-dominant players, so you need that point guard who's distributing the ball around, getting people their touches, so it's not like a lot of ISO ball.
Yeah, it was a weird showing. It's the first game for the Timberwolves. Give them time. Give them a month or two. But overall, what grade would you give the Timberwolves in their first showing?
I give them a B, solid B. They played against the Spurs, Popovich in that system.
They're always tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give them about a C+. I'm right there with you. I agree with that. Okay, but as far as the Spurs go,
I don't know what to say. I honestly,
steady.
What is going on over there?
They
don't have Kawhi, they don't have Tony, and they somehow still win.
They still win by a fairly easy margin. They had a really bad third quarter. There was a point where they were 0 for 10 and they had 6 or 7 turnovers just in one quarter. Very un-Spurs-like, but you know what was very Spurs-like? How LaMarcus Aldridge played.
Yes, finally. He's finally back looking like his Portland self, like demanding the ball in the post, creating opportunities for himself, not settling for that fadeaway, attacking the rim.
Yeah, he looked great. I mean, 25, 10, and 4. He even had 4 assists, which is pretty good. You could see the potential for LaMarcus being a 1B to Kawhi Leonard's 1A when he comes back.
And that's what they need him as.
Yeah, they're going to need some great play out of him, but this opened up something that I was thinking about. When they brought Rudy Gay in towards the end of the game, they went to a small ball lineup, and they had Rudy Gay at the 4, LaMarcus Aldridge at the 5. They had DeJounte Murray, who had an awesome game. He played we saw the potential there, his length, his athleticism, everything like that. But when Kawhi comes back, you could go with a lineup. You could get Patty Mills or DeJounte Murray, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, Rudy Gay, and LaMarcus Aldridge.
That's a scary lineup.
That is a scary lineup. There's no other way to say it.
Because LaMarcus can hit that corner 3 with ease, get him wide open. You have Rudy Gay, who's always an overlooked small forward. You have him on your bench coming as your 6th man.
He's
as
tall,
a scorer.
too.
Yeah, 6'7", I think.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. And underrated aspect of his game, he's always been pretty solid on the inside and rebounding. The biggest problem with him has been effort.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reason why he's never raised to the national spotlight.
Yeah.
But this year, it seems that he's bought into the system, because we saw him doing something that we haven't seen him do in his entire career. He was swinging the ball around the perimeter, and that's incredible for Rudy Gay.
Popovich, if you're going to play, you better pass the ball, you better move. We're not having any of that ISO ball over here in San Antonio. So he's like, I'm buying into it. I want a ring. I can help this team win, and now I'm going to pass the ball.
Yeah, when Kawhi comes back, my expectations for the Spurs were, another 56, 57 win season. Maybe peeking into that 60 if Kawhi turns into,
MVP,
the MVP. But after watching this, I realized how deep the Spurs were.
Yes.
I guess some time away from them, they're easy to forget about.
Anderson, he looked really good too.
He looked good. Their young guys looked solid. It just reminds us that this is the Spurs. And even with somebody like Pau Gasol.
All the talk of the Thunder and the Rockets making moves, and no one really talking about the Spurs, and they come out opening night without Kawhi and Tony Parker, and they have a nice, solid win.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. A nice, solid San Antonio opening night. Do your job. Go home. We'll play again the next few days. All right, that's going to do it for this segment. We'll be right back with Quick Hitters.